Hey, Joe, how are you, man?
How are you doing?
Doing well. I appreciate you taking the time to talk. I know today is a big day for you guys. Made the announcement that the new album Nowhere Generation will be out on June 4th, and it's been 4 years since Wolves was released. I remember Tim discussing after that album came out. You guys go through the touring cycle. You guys were going to take a little bit of extra time between albums this time around, and 4 years is the longest that you guys have gone between releasing albums. Why did you decide to take a little bit more time this time around? Take things a little bit slower.
Um, we didn't want to rush it. We wanted to take our time. Being it's our ninth record, and we're going on 20 years as a band. So we feel like we had the luxury of time. We could afford to take it. Basically, it wasn't supposed to be as long as it was, obviously, with the pandemic. Because this record, we finished it, a year ago. So we were just waiting for the right time to release it. But yeah, felt like we didn't want to rush it because nothing good comes from that. Everything like we won't be happy as music writers and as band members, and our fans they won't get what they could get. So we just wanted to make sure it was perfect, to our standards at least.
I was wondering if the pandemic delayed anything at all, but it sounds like everything was done before the pandemic really started. So you guys didn't have to worry about. I know there are some bands that have recorded like full albums and never been in the same room together as part of that process, but it sounds like you guys were already done before that all happened.
Yeah, literally, it was literally like a week before the pandemic, like, everything was shutting down. We got done, and the thing that we were experiencing is just a release date. We just kept moving the goalposts, down the road until, we felt comfortable with June 4th. Because hopefully things will open up, concerts will start happening in the fall. At least that's the goal. So fingers crossed that'll happen.
I assume that a lot of the album, I mean, the last 4 years since you guys took so much time between Wolves and this album, Nowhere Generation, which will be out in June, I assume that the last 4 years has provided you guys with a lot of sort of inspiration for this album because a lot has happened in the last 4 years.
Yes. I mean, and full disclosure, like I don't have the heavy job of writing the lyrics to the band. I mean, Tim, going on our ninth record, I'm still not sure how he manages to do it, keeping it fresh. I mean, he's a great writer, and I think we try not to grab the low hanging fruit. Like it's easy to bash politics and things like that, but I think with Rise Against, I always feel like our lyrics lean on more of a sense of hope. A sense of there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're feeling a little frustrated in your life, just speak up and make a personal change, make that change in your life. It's a very general, broad view of the band, but that's how I've always viewed like Rise Against, since we started. I think it's important. It's important not to get discouraged in your life. I mean, yeah, there's so much going on, and hopefully, I know politically, I feel like people spoke up, and the results of the election are what they should be, because people were a little frustrated, generally speaking. So I think that it's just important to lean on your voice and know that it's okay to speak up.
And obviously, Rise Against is known as a band with a message. It seems like this album and Nowhere Generation, the song specifically, sort of has a message. I've listened to it a few times today before, talking to you. And it seems like the message of that song in particular is directed towards, a certain group of people, the Nowhere Generation. There's these group of people that don't have their future isn't as bright as maybe a lot of people seem to think it should be, or maybe they expected it to be. And it seems like that song is really kind of dedicated towards those people. And a lot of those people are your fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. So I think it's important to tackle, those subjects. But again, it's, don't discount those people. You know, they have to step up and kind of overcome those obstacles and those frustrations. You know, that it's like you're doing all this work and you're hitting roadblock after roadblock. That's very frustrating in anything you're doing, but you just have to look beyond that, you know, to see the forest through the trees, basically.
I think it's important to mention that, you know, talking about the struggles, talking about the fact that, you know, the future may be a little bit bleak, isn't necessarily negative. I think the important thing to point out is that you guys are saying, you know, we know what's going on. We know what you're experiencing. We hear you. And that, you know, somebody's listening. Somebody has taken note of what you guys are going through, because there are so many people that kind of ignore what Gen X, what Gen Y, what Gen Z, what they're saying. They just kind of gloss over it. And you're saying, no, there are people that are listening. We hear what you're going through. We know what you're going through.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Not only did you guys announce the album Nowhere Generation, it'll be out in June, but the music video is out there now too. It's black and white. It looks like the album cover is black and white. Even a version of the album, the vinyl, is sort of a white, black ink sort of. It all kind of seems connected, and I assume there's a reason for that.
I mean, we've never done a black and white record, you know. As far as artwork goes, I thought we thought it would be something different, new, and exciting, and we just wanted to tie everything in together. You know, because we've struggled with that. You know, we release a record, and then maybe the video doesn't really correlate with the artwork, and you know, the live show, the backdrops behind us don't necessarily correlate with that. So we just wanted to keep it all, you know, under one umbrella and have this reoccurring theme, so it's people can recognize it, and also it differentiates the Nowhere Generation record with all previous records. You know, it's a good way to do that, to separate it.
So the album will be out in June. The single Nowhere Generation is out right now, but there's another song out there that'll appear on the album as well. It's been out for a little bit. It's called Broken Dreams Incorporated. And it's interesting. I feel like I got to talk about this because today, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League, his cut comes out today on HBO Max. And I hope you have 4 hours to carve out of your day to watch it. But it's awesome that song has been out there for a little bit. And that song was released as part of a soundtrack to a graphic novel, a comic book, which is something, one, you don't really hear of that often. And it's awesome that you guys have a song that was involved with that.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie. It was definitely new to me. Like, the comic world is something that was just off my radar. So we were asked to do that, and it took a while for me to wrap my head around it. I just didn't realize that that was a thing, you know, to be honest. And then I realized we were in good company with the other bands on the soundtrack, and it made me realize the parallels with the themes of that type of comic book, you know, definitely go along with the anti-establishment of the punk rock scene. I definitely see how the two have commonalities, so I can relate to it in that way. But it was super fun to do. You know, there was an episode where I got to be the voice of Nightwing, on the channel or in the graphic novel. So it was just cool to be a part of it. You know, we were honored to be asked.
And it's awesome that song will appear on the album. You mentioned it. I know I've got to wrap up here pretty quick. We only got a few minutes, but you mentioned a little while ago that, you know, the band has been around for 20 years at this point. 2021 marks the 20th anniversary of your debut album, which is, pretty remarkable. There aren't a lot of bands that stick around for 5 years with the core group of guys together, let alone 20 years and 9 albums. So when you look back on the last 20 years, and I know you guys have had a lot of, whether it be headlining shows or, you know, support slots or major tours that you've done or albums or whatever it might be, what's the one thing that you're the most proud of when it comes to Rise Against and what you guys have done?
I would say accomplishing the daunting task of climbing out of the basement and making it to touring with the Foo Fighters. When I was on stage, we toured with the Foo Fighters out east, obviously, and in Australia. And when I was sitting, or I'm standing on that stage, and you just think back to our basement shows. I mean, it blows my mind. And then actually, I would say the biggest thing that stands out for me is playing Wrigley Field with Fall Out Boy. That was crazy because us Fall Out Boy, we all come from the same punk rock hardcore scene, and we played the same venues, the same VFW halls, and the Fireside Bowl in Chicago and the Metro in Chicago. It was it was very surreal to stand at Wrigley Field and play and realize, like, wow, like this is where we're at, and this is insane, and it still doesn't feel real to me.
Yeah, I imagine any band, whether it's Chicago or Los Angeles or Detroit, any band that starts out there has the dream of playing the baseball stadium. So to get to do that has got to be pretty amazing.
Oh, 100%. It definitely made my mom proud.
Well, Joe, man, I'm looking forward to hearing more from the album. The album will be out on June 4th. It's called Nowhere Generation. The song is out now. The video's out now. So a lot of stuff for people to check out. And I appreciate you taking some time this morning to chat about it. Looking forward to hearing more.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
All right. Take care.